Доброго времени суток,
Good morning, everybody.
уважаемые участники нашего международного
Dear
забега,
guests of the international run
посвященного
for
чтению
reading
священных писаний
the Holy
во благо
Scriptures
мира, во благо
for
всех
the
живых
benefit of
существ.
the whole world and all living
Мы
entities.
приближаемся к финишу.
We're running to the finish.
Нам осталось 2 главы прочитать.
We just have 2
Это
chapters to
примерно
finish
около
reading.
часу займет. Этого нектара будем скучать.
We're going to miss this nectar when we finish, but surely
Провидение оно предоставит нам еще какой-нибудь вариант по чтению.
fate will have us
Но пока мы
read in a different variation.
находимся в кульминации, в заключительных
But here we're right now in the culmination of everything we're doing.
Эти главы, они тоже сейчас будут раскрывать нам
These
какую-то тайну.
chapters will also open us up some sort of secrets about our relationship with God. We have an eternal relationship with God that's indestructible. God is located in the hearts of every living entity, no matter the tradition. He supports the life of everything. And just as the living entities are eternal, He supports them eternally. No matter what planet or universe or whatever. But to reestablish this relationship, this depends on how serious we are, how sincere we are. So we can orient, we've already found the exit from the labyrinth, but our seriousness depends on how we don't lose it. Then we can read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Some have already left from this.
С этого вечного мытарства, перерождений, старости, болезни, смерти, рождения. И так как у нас есть хороший ориентир, мы уже получили вкус какой-то, вкус получили от игр Господа, потому что
we've already gotten a taste from hearing the pastimes of the Lord and hearing these pastimes, not the activities, but the pastimes that are all attractive. So Lord Chaitanya opens up the sweetest side of this, and then how these mutual relationships are very secret. We can come closer to them and try to, and only a person with a pure heart can understand them. A person that doesn't have any sort of doubts or envy, they can understand these sweetest pastimes. Okay, let's start. Let's start to finish. Read a auspicious mantra to glorify Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya. They're all devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Gurudev. 19 глава Антя-лилы. Непостижимые деяния Господа.
Chapter 19, the inconceivable pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Ниже приводится краткое изложение 19 главы из Амрита Праваха Бхаши Шрила Бхактивинода Thakura.
The following summary of chapter 19 is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravava Bhashya. Every year, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Jagannatha Pandit to visit his mother in Navadvip with gifts of cloth and prasadam. After one such visit, Jagannatha Pandit returned to Puri with a sonnet that Advaita Acharya had written. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu read it, his ecstasy was so great that all the devotees feared that the Lord would very soon pass away. The Lord's condition was so serious that at night he would bruise and bloody his face by rubbing it against the walls. So to stop this, Swarup Damodar asked Shankara Pandit to stay that night in the same room with the Lord. This chapter further describes how Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the Jagannath Vallabha garden during the full moon night of Vishakha, April-May, and experienced various transcendental ecstasies. Overwhelmed with ecstatic love at suddenly seeing Sri Krishna beneath the Ashoka tree, he exhibited various symptoms of spiritual madness. Verse 1. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most exalted of all devotees of mothers. Spoke like a madman and rubbed his face against the walls. Overwhelmed by emotions of ecstatic love, he would sometimes enter the Jagannath Vallabha garden to perform his pastimes. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the ecstasy of love of Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus behaved like a madman, talking insanely all day and night. Jagadananda Pandit was a very dear devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord derived great pleasure from his activities. Knowing his mother to be greatly afflicted by separation from him, the Lord would send Jagadananda Pandit to Navadvip every year to console her. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Jagadananda Pandit, "Go to Nadia and offer my obeisances to my mother. Touch her lotus feet in my name. Tell her for me, please remember that I come here every day and offer my respects to your lotus feet. Any day you desire to feed me, I certainly come and accept what you offer. I have given up service to you and have accepted the vow of sannyas. I have thus become mad and have destroyed the principles of religion. Mother, please do not take this as an offense, for I, your son, am completely dependent upon you. I am staying here at Nilachala, Jagannath Puri, according to your order. As long as I live, I shall not leave this place." Following the order of Paramananda Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent his mother the prasad clothing left by Lord Jagannath after his pastimes as a cowherd boy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very carefully brought first-class prasadam from Lord Jagannath and sent it in separate packages to his mother and the devotees at Nadia. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the topmost gem of all devotees of mothers. He rendered service to his mother even after he had accepted the vow of sannyas. Jagadananda Pandit thus went to Nadia, and when he met Sachimata, he conveyed to her all the Lord's salutations. He then met all the other devotees headed by Advaita Acharya, and gave them the prasadam of Jagannath. After staying for 1 month, he took permission from Mother Sachi to leave. When he went to Advaita Acharya and also asked his permission to return, Advaita Prabhu gave him a message to deliver to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Advaita Acharya had written a sonnet in equivocal language with an important import that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand, but others could not. In his sonnet, Advaita Prabhu first offered his obeisances hundreds and thousands of times under the lotus feet of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He then submitted the following statement at his lotus feet. Please inform Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is acting like a madman, that everyone here has become mad like him. Inform him also that in a marketplace, rice is no longer in demand. Further tell him that those now mad in ecstatic love are no longer interested in the material world. Also tell Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that one who has also become a madman in ecstatic love, Advaita Prabhu, has spoken these words. When he heard Advaita Acharya's statement, Jagadananda Pandit began to laugh, and when he returned to Jagannath Puri, Nilachala, he informed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu of everything. After hearing the equivocal sonnet by Advaita Acharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quietly smiled. "That is his order," he said. Then he fell silent. Although he knew the secret, Sarup Damodar Goswami inquired from the Lord, "What is the meaning of this sonnet? I could not understand it." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "Advaita Acharya is a great worshipper of the Lord and is very expert in the regulative principles enjoined in the Vedic literatures. Advaita Acharya invites the Lord to come and be worshipped and to perform the worship. He keeps the deity for some time. After the worship is completed, he sends the deity somewhere else. I do not know the meaning of this sonnet."
Это его приказ, сказал он и замолчал. Хотя Сварупа Дамодара разгадал смысл
Nor
этого
do I know it is what is in Advaita Prabhu's mind. Advaita Acharya is a great mystic. No one can understand him. He is expert in writing sonnets that even I myself cannot understand. Hearing this, all the devotees were astonished, especially Swarup Damodar, who became somewhat morose. From that day on, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's emotional state changed markedly. His feelings of separation from Krishna doubled in intensity. As his feelings of separation and ecstasy of Srimati Radharani increased at every moment, the Lord's activities, both day and night, were now wild, insane performances. Suddenly there awoke within Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the scene of Lord Krishna's departure to Mathura, and he began exhibiting the symptoms of ecstatic madness known as Udgurna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke like a madman, holding Ramananda Roy by the neck, and he questioned Swarup Damodar, thinking him to be his gopi friend. Just as Srimati Radharani inquired from her personal friend Vishaka, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, reciting that very verse, began speaking like a madman. My dear friend, where is Krishna, who is like a moon rising in the ocean of Maharaj Nanda's dynasty? Where is Krishna, his head decorated with a peacock feather? Where is he? Where is Krishna, whose flute produces such a deep sound? Oh, where is Krishna, whose bodily luster is like the luster of a blue Antya-lila jewel? Where is Krishna, who is so expert in rasa dancing? Oh, where is he who can save my life? Kindly tell me where to find Krishna, the treasure of my life, the best of my friends. Feeling separation from him, I hereby condemn Providence, the shaper of my destiny. The family of Maharaj Nanda is just like an ocean of milk, wherein Lord Krishna has arisen like the full moon to illuminate the entire universe. The eyes of the residents of Braj are like chakora birds that continuously drink the nectar of his bodily luster and thus live peacefully. My dear friend, where is Krishna? Kindly let me see him. My heart breaks at not seeing his face, even for a moment. Kindly show him to me immediately, otherwise I cannot live. The women of Vrindavan are just like lilies growing hot in the sun of lusty desires. But moonlight Krishna makes them all jubilant by bestowing upon them the nectar of his hands. My dear friend, where is my moon now? Save my life by showing him me. My dear friend, where is that beautiful helmet with peacock feather upon it like a rainbow upon the new cloud? Where are those yellow garments shining like lightning? And where is that necklace of pearls that resemble flocks of ducks flying in the sky? The blackish body of Krishna triumphs now over the new blackish rain cloud. If a person's eyes even once capture that beautiful body of Krishna, it remains always prominent within his heart. Krishna's body resembles the sap of the mango tree, for when it enters the minds of women, it will not come out, despite great endeavor. Thus Krishna's extraordinary body is like a thorn in the saya berry tree. Krishna's bodily luster shines like an Indra-nila gem and surpasses the luster of the tamala tree. The luster of his body drives the entire world mad because Providence has made it transparent by refining the essence of the mellow of conjugal love and mixing it with moonshine. The deep vibration of Krishna's flute surpasses the thundering of new clouds and attracts the aural reception of the entire world. Thus the inhabitants of Vrindavan rise and pursue the sound, drinking and the showering nectar of Krishna's bodily luster like thirsty chataka birds. Krishna is the reservoir of art and culture, and he is the panacea that saves my life. O my dear friend, since I live without him, who is the best among my friends? I condemn the duration of my life. I think that Providence has cheated me in many ways. Why does Providence continue the life of one who does not wish to live? This thought aroused anger and lamentation in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who then recited a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam that chastises Providence and makes an accusation against Krishna. O Providence, you have no mercy. You bring embodied souls together, and through friendship and affection, but before their desires are fulfilled, you separate them. Your activities are like the foolish pranks of children. Providence, you do not know the purport of loving affairs, and therefore you baffle all our endeavors. This is very childish of you. If we could catch you, we would give you such a lesson that you would never again make such arrangements. O cruel Providence, you are very unkind, for you bring together in love people who are rarely in touch with each other. Then, after you have made them meet, but before they are fulfilled, you again spread them far apart. O Providence, you are so unkind. You reveal the beautiful face of Krishna and make the mind and eyes greedy. But after they have drunk that nectar for only a moment, you whisk Krishna away to another place. This is a great sin, because you thus take away what you have given us as charity. O misbehaved Providence, if you reply to us, Akrura is actually at fault, why are you angry with me? Then I say to you, Providence, you have taken the form of Akrura and have stolen Krishna away. No one else would behave like this. But this is the fault of my own destiny. Why should I needlessly accuse you? There is no intimate relationship between you and me. Krishna, however, is my life and soul. It is we who live together, and it is he who has become so cruel. He for whom I have left everything is personally killing me with his own hands. Krishna has no fear of killing women. Indeed, I am dying for him, but he doesn't even turn back to look at me. Within a moment he has broken off our loving affairs. Yet why should I be angry with Krishna? It is the fault of my own misfortune. The fruit of my sinful activities has ripened, and therefore Krishna, who has always been dependent on my love, is now indifferent. This means that my misfortune is very strong. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lamented in the mood of separation. Alas, alas! O Krishna, where have you gone? Feeling in his heart the ecstatic emotions of the gopis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu agonized in their words, saying, O Govinda, O Damodar, O Madhava. Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy then devised various means to pacify the Lord. They sang songs of meeting that transformed his heart and made his mind peaceful. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lamented in this way, half the night passed. Then Swarup Damodar made the Lord lie down in the room known as Gambhira. After the Lord was made to lie down, Ramananda Roy returned home, and Swarup Damodar and Govinda lay down at the door of Gambhira. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed awake all night chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, his mind overwhelmed by spiritual ecstasy. Feeling separation from Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so distraught in the great anxiety, he stood up and began rubbing his face against the walls of the Gambhira. Blood oozed from the many injuries on his mouth, nose, and cheeks, but due to his ecstatic emotions, the Lord did not know it. In ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rubbed his face against walls all night long, making a peculiar sound, gone, gone, which Swarup Damodar could hear through the door. Lighting a lamp, Swarup Damodar and Govinda entered the room. When they saw the Lord's face, they were filled with sorrow. They brought the Lord to his bed, calmed him down, and then asked, "Why have you done this to yourself?" Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I was in such anxiety that I could not stay in the room. I wanted to go out, and therefore I wandered about the room looking for the door. Unable to find the door, I kept hitting the four walls with my face. My face was injured and it bled, but I still could not get out. In this state of madness, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind was unsteady. Whatever he said or did was all symptomatic of madness. Sarup Damodar was very anxious, but then he had an idea. The following day, he and the other devotees considered it together. After consulting with one another, they entered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to allow Shankar Pandit to lie down in the same room with him. Thus, Shankara Pandit lay at the feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the Lord placed his legs upon Shankara's body. Shankara became celebrated by the name Prabhu Pradodpadana, the pillow of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was like Vidura, as Shukadeva Goswami previously described him. When submissive Vidura, the resting place of the legs of Lord Krishna, had thus spoken to Maitreya, Maitreya began speaking, his hair standing on end, due to the transcendental pleasure of discussing topics concerning Lord Krishna. Shankara massaged the legs of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but while massaging he would fall asleep and thus lie down. He would lie asleep without a covering on his body, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would get up and wrap him with his own quilt. Shankara Pandit would always fall asleep, but he would quickly awaken, sit up, and begin massaging the legs of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way, he would stay awake the entire night. Out of fear of Shankara, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could neither leave his room nor rub his lotus-like face against the wall. This pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been described very nicely by Raghunath Das Goswami in his book known as Gauranga Stava Kalpavriksha. Because of separation from his many friends in Vrindavan, who were like his own life, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke like a madman. His intelligence was transformed. Day and night he rubbed his moon-like face against the walls, and blood flowed from the injuries. May that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rise in my heart and make me mad with love. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed immersed day and night in the ocean of ecstatic love for Krishna. Sometimes he was submerged and sometimes he floated. One full moon night in the month of Vishaka, April-May, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to a garden. The Lord, along with his devotees, entered one of the nicest gardens called Jagannath Vallabha. In the garden were fully blossomed trees and creepers actually exactly like those of Vrindavan. Bumblebees and birds like the shuka and shadi and pika talked with one another. A mild breeze was blowing, carrying the fragrance of aromatic flowers. The breeze had become a guru and was teaching all the trees and creepers how to dance. Brightly illuminated by the full moon, the trees and creepers glittered in the light. The 6 seasons, especially spring, seemed present there. Seeing the garden, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was very happy. In this atmosphere, the Lord had his associates sing the verse from the Gita Govinda, beginning with the words Lalita Lavananga Lata, as he danced and wandered about with them. As he thus wandered around every tree and creeper, he came beneath an ashok tree and suddenly saw Lord Krishna. When he saw Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began running very swiftly, but Krishna smiled and disappeared. Having gotten Krishna and then lost him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell to the ground unconscious. The entire garden was filled with the scent of Lord Sri Krishna's transcendental body. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smelled it, he fell unconscious at once. But the scent of Krishna's body incessantly entered his nostrils, and the Lord became mad to relish it. Srimati Radharani once spoke a verse to her gopi friends, describing how she hankers for the transcendental scent of Krishna's body. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited that same verse and made its meaning clear. The scent of Krishna's transcendental body surpasses the aroma of musk, and attracts the minds of all women. The 8 lotus-like parts of his body distribute the fragrance of lotuses mixed with that of camphor. His body is anointed with aromatic substances like musk, camphor, sandalwood, and aguru. O my dear friend, that personality of Godhead, also known as the enchanter of Cupid, always increases the desires of my nostrils. The scent of Krishna's body surpasses the fragrances of musk and the bluish lotus flower. Spreading throughout the 14 worlds, it attracts everyone and makes the eyes of all women blind. My dear friend, the scent of Krishna's body enchants the entire world. It especially enters the nostrils of women and remains seated there. Thus it captures them and forcibly brings them to Krishna. Krishna's eyes, navel, and faces, hands and feet are like 8 lotus flowers on his body. From those 8 lotuses emanate a fragrance like a mixture of camphor and lotuses. That is the scent associated with his body. When sandalwood pulp is mixed with aguru, kumkum, musk, and camphor and spread on Krishna's body, it combines with Krishna's own original body, perfume, and seems to cover it. The scent of Krishna's transcendental body is so attractive that it enchants the body and minds of all women. It bewilders their nostrils, loosens their belts and hair, and makes them mad women. All the women of the world come under its influence, and therefore the scent of Krishna's body is like a plunderer. Falling completely under its influence, the nostrils yearn for it continuously. Although sometimes they obtain it and sometimes not, when they do, they drink their fill, and they still want more and more. But if they don't, out of thirst, they die. The dramatic actor Madana Mohan has opened a shop of scents that attract the women of the world to be his customers. He delivers the scents freely, but they make the women all so blind they cannot find the path returning home. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his mind thus stolen by the scent of Krishna's body, ran here and there like a bumblebee. He ran to the trees and plants, hoping that Lord Krishna would appear, but instead he found only that scent. Both Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy sang to the Lord, who danced and enjoyed happiness until the morning arrived. Then the Lord's 2 associates advised a plan to bring him to the external consciousness. Thus I, Krishnadas, the servant of Srila Rupa Goswami, have sung the 4 divisions of the Lord's pastimes in this chapter. The Lord's devotion to his mother, his words of madness, his rubbing his face against the walls at night, and his dancing at the appearance of Lord Krishna's fragrance. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus returned to external consciousness. He bathed and went to see Lord Jagannath. The pastimes of Lord Krishna are uncommonly full of transcendental potency. It is a characteristic of such pastimes that they do not fall within the jurisdiction of experimental logic and arguments. When transcendental love of Krishna awakens in someone's heart, even a learned scholar cannot comprehend his activities. The activities and symptoms that exalted personality in whose heart love of God has awakened cannot be understood even by the most learned scholars. The activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are undoubtedly uncommon, especially his talking like a madman. Therefore, one who hears these pastimes should not put forward mundane arguments. He should simply hear the pastimes with full faith. The evidence of the truth of these talks is found in Srimad Bhagavatam. There, in the section of the 10th canto known as Bhramara Gita, the Song of the Bumblebee, Srimati Radharani speaks insanely in ecstatic love for Krishna. The songs of the queens at Dwarka, which are mentioned at the end of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, have a very special meaning. They are not understood even by the most learned scholars. If one becomes a servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu, and is favored by them, he can believe in all these discourses. Just try to hear these topics with faith. For the giant pleasure, there is great pleasure even in hearing them. Thus hearing will destroy all miseries pertaining to the body, mind, and other living entities, and the unhappiness of false arguments as well. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is ever increasingly fresh. For one who hears it again and again, the heart and ear become pacified. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Thus end Chapter 19, The Inconceivable Behavior of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Спутников Господа придумали способ, как вернуть его во внешнее сознание. Итак, я, Кришнадас, слуга Шилы Рупы Госвами, в этой главе воспел 4 лилы Господа. Я поведал его преданности матери, о его безумных речах, о том, как он ночью терся лицом о стены, и о том, как он танцевал, почувствовав аромат тела Кришны. Чайтанья Махапрабху вернулся во внешнее сознание. Он совершил омовение и отправился на даршан Господа Джаганатхи. Игры Господа Кришны, исполненные необычайно. Главы. Еще раз Кришнадас Кавираж Госвами нас предостерегает, настраивает.
Again, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj, he's orienting us that there's no logic in the activities of Lord Chaitanya. You can't understand. Only those can understand who have a pure heart. And he just asks to listen with faith. Listen with faith these activities with faith. You can get great benefit from listening to them. Last chapter, chapter 20. The prayers of Shikshastika, the Shikshastika prayers. Shiksha это instructions and Astaka это 8. Astami means 8th.
Надо будет ее пропеть нам, эту молитву.
We're gonna have to sing this prayer.
Должна быть у всех, тех, кто
Should be for everybody.
Придерживается настроения Господа Чайтаньи, если идет по его пути.
Everyone who is going along Lord Chaitanya's path, they should find the mood of a servant of a servant of a servant, and they should know this prayer and chant it every day. They chant it every day. If you chant it every day, then at the end of your life you go to the spiritual world. Let's read it and then read this and then we'll chant it together at the end. 20th chapter, the Shikshastika prayers.
Говорится в этих молитвах скрыты все веды полностью.
This is the secrets of all Vedas in this. Lord Chaitanya gave us the most secret of secrets that is hidden in all the Vedas, this Shikshastika. And here, this short summary. The following summary of the 20th chapter is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Prabha Babhasya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed his nights tasting the meaning of the Shikshastika prayers in the company of Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Roy. Sometimes he recited verses from Jayadev Goswami's Gita Govinda, from Srimad Bhagavatam, from Sri Ramananda Roy's Jagannath Vallabha Nataka, or from Sri Bilva Mangala Thakur's Krishna Karnamrita. In this way, he became absorbed in ecstatic emotions. For the 12 years For 12 years, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived at Jagannath Puri. He relished the taste of reciting such transcendental verses. Although the Lord was present in this mortal world for 48 years. After hinting about the Lord's disappearance, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita gives a short description of the entire Antya-lila and then ends his book. Text 1. Only the most fortunate will relish the mad words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which were mixed with jubilation, envy, agitation, submissiveness, and grief, all produced by ecstatic loving emotions. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus resided at Jagannath Puri, Nilachala, he was continuously overwhelmed night and day by separation from Krishna. Day and night he tasted transcendental bliss, blissful songs and verses with two associates, namely Svarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Roy. He relished the symptoms of various transcendental emotions such as jubilation, lamentation, anger, humility, anxiety, grief, eagerness, and satisfaction. He would recite his own verses expressing their meaning and emotions, and thus enjoy tasting them with the two friends. Sometimes the Lord would be absorbed in a particular emotion and would stay awake all night reciting related verses and relishing their taste. In great jubilation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "My dear Svarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, know from me that chanting the holy name is the most feasible means of salvation in this age of Kali. In this age of Kali, the process of worshipping Krishna is to perform sacrifice by chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who does so is certainly very intelligent, and he attains shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, one can be free from all undesirable habits. This is the means of awakening all good fortune and initiating the flow of waves of love for Krishna. Let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which cleanses the mirror of the heart and stops the misery of the blazing fire of material existence. That chanting is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living beings. It is the life and soul of all education. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone and enables one to taste full nectar at every step. By performing congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, one can destroy the sinful condition of material existence, purify the unclean heart, and awaken all varieties of devotional service. The result of chanting is that one awakens his love for Krishna and tastes transcendental bliss. Ultimately, one attains the association of Krishna and engages in his devotional service as if immersing himself in a great ocean of love. Lamentation and humility awoke within Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he began reciting another of his own verses. By hearing the meaning of that verse, one can forget all unhappiness and lamentation. My Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, in your holy name there is all good fortune for the living entity, and therefore you have many names such as Krishna and Govinda, by which you expand yourself. You have invested all your potencies in those names, and there is no hard and fast rules for remembering them. My dear Lord, although you bestow such mercy upon the fallen conditioned souls by liberally teaching your holy names, I am so unfortunate that I commit offenses while chanting the holy name, and therefore I do not achieve attachment for chanting. Because people vary in their desires, you have distributed various holy names by your mercy. Regardless of time or place, one who chants the holy name even while eating or sleeping attains all perfection. You invested your full potencies in each individual holy name. but I am so unfortunate that I have no attachment for chanting your holy names. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, O Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Roy, hear for me the symptoms of how one should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra to awaken very easily one's dormant love for Krishna. One who thinks himself lower than the straw, lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, who does not expect personal honor but is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. These are the symptoms of one who chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Although he is very exalted, he thinks himself lower than a grass on the ground, and like a tree he tolerates everything in two ways. When a tree is cut down, it does not protest, and even when drying up, it does not ask anyone for water. The tree delivers its fruits, flowers, and whatever else it possesses to anyone and everyone. It tolerates scorching heat and torrents of rain, yet it gives shelter to others. Although the Vaishnava is most exalted person, he is prideless and gives all respect to everyone, knowing everyone to be the resting place of Krishna. If one chants the holy name of Lord Krishna in this manner, he will certainly awaken his dormant love for Krishna's lotus feet. As Lord Chaitanya spoke in this way, his humility increased, and he began praying to Krishna that he could discharge pure devotional service. Wherever there is a relationship of love of Godhead, its natural symptom is that the devotee does not think himself a devotee. Instead, he always thinks that he is not even a drop that he has not even a drop of love for Krishna. O Lord of the universe, I do not desire material wealth, materialistic followers, or a beautiful wife, or fruitive activities described in flowery language. All I want, life after life, is unmotivated devotional service to you. My dear Lord Krishna, I do not want material wealth from you, nor do I want followers, a beautiful wife, or the results of fruitive activities. I pray that you, by your causeless mercy, you give me pure devotional service to you, life after life. In great humility, considering himself a conditioned soul on the material world, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again expressed his desire to be endowed with the service to the Lord. O my Lord Krishna, son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servant, but because of my own fruitive acts, I have fallen into this horrible ocean of nations. Now please be causelessly merciful to me. Consider me a particle of dust at your lotus feet. I am your eternal servant, but I have forgotten your lordship. Now I have fallen into this ocean of nations, and have been conditioned by the external energy. Be causelessly merciful to me by giving me a place with the particles of dust at your lotus feet, so that I may engage in the service of your lordship as your eternal servant. Natural humility and eagerness then awoke in Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He prayed to Krishna to be able to chant the Mahamantra in ecstatic love. My dear Lord, when will my eyes be beautified by filling with tears that can constantly glide down as I chant your holy name? When will my voice falter and all the hairs of my body stand erect in the transcendental happiness as I chant your holy name? Without love of Godhead, my life is useless. Therefore I pray that you accept me as your servant and give me the salary of ecstatic love of God. Separation from Krishna awoke various mellows of distress, lamentation, and humility. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke like a crazy man. My Lord Govinda, because of separation from you, I consider even a moment a great millennium. Tears flow down my eyes like torrents of rain, and I see the entire world as void. In my agitation, a day never ends, for every moment seems like a millennium. Pouring incessant tears, my eyes are like clouds in the rainy season. The three worlds have become void because of your separation from Govinda. I feel as if I were burning alive in a slow fire. Lord Krishna has become indifferent to me just to test my love, and my friends say better to disregard him. While Srimati Radharani was thinking in this way, the characteristics of natural love became manifest because of her pure heart. The ecstatic symptoms of envy, great eagerness, humility, zeal, and supplication all became manifest all at once. In that mood the mind of Srimati Radharani was agitated, and therefore she spoke a verse of advanced devotion to her gopi friends. In the same spirit of ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited that verse. As soon as he did so, he felt like Srimati Radharani. Let Krishna tightly embrace this maidservant who has fallen at his lotus feet, or let him trample me or break my heart by never being visible to me. He is a debauchee, after all, and can do whatever he likes, but he is still no one other than the worshipable Lord of my heart. I am a maidservant at the lotus feet of Krishna. He is the embodiment of transcendental happiness and mellows. If he likes, he can tightly embrace me and make me feel oneness with him. Or by not giving me his audience, he may corrode my mind and body. Nevertheless, it is he who is the Lord of my life. My dear friend, just hear the decision of my mind. Krishna is the Lord of my life in all conditions, whether he shows me affection or kills me by giving me unhappiness. Sometimes Krishna gives up the company of other gopis and becomes controlled mind and body by me. Thus he manifests my good fortune and gives others distress by performing his loving affairs with me. Or since after all he is a very cunning, obstinate debauchee, with a propensity to cheat. He takes to the company of other women. He then indulges in loving affairs with them in front of me, to give distress to my mind. Nevertheless, he is still the Lord of my life. I do not mind my personal distress. I only wish for the happiness of Krishna, for his happiness is the goal of my life. However, if he feels great happiness in giving me distress, that distress is the best of my happiness. If Krishna, attracted by the beauty of some other woman, wants to enjoy with her, but is unhappy because he cannot get her, I fall down at her feet, catch her hand, and bring her to Krishna to engage her for his happiness. When a beloved gopi shows symptoms of anger toward Krishna, Krishna is very satisfied. Indeed, he is extremely pleased when chastised by such a gopi. She shows her pride suitably, and Krishna enjoys that attitude. Then she gives up her pride with a little endeavor. Why does a woman continue to live who knows that Krishna's heart is unhappy, but who still shows her deep anger toward him? She is interested in her own happiness. I condemn such a woman to be struck on the head with a thunderbolt, for we simply want the happiness of Krishna. If a gopi envious of me satisfies Krishna and Krishna desires her, I shall not hesitate to go to her house and become her maidservant, for then my happiness will be awakened. The wife of a Brahmana, suffering from leprosy, manifested her as the topmost of all chaste women by serving a prostitute to satisfy her husband. She thus stopped the movement of the sun, brought her dead husband back to life, and satisfied the three principal demigods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshvara. Krishna is my life and soul. Krishna is the treasure of my life. Indeed, Krishna is the very life of my life. I therefore help him always in my heart, and try to please him by rendering service. That is my constant meditation. My happiness is the service of Krishna, and Krishna's happiness is in union with me. For this reason, I give my body in charity to the lotus feet of Krishna, who accepts me as his loved one and calls me his most beloved. It is then that I consider myself his maidservant. Service to my lover is the home of happiness. and more sweet than direct union with him. The goddess of fortune is evidence of this, for although she constantly lives on the heart of Narayana, she wants to render service to his lotus feet. She therefore considers herself a maidservant and serves him constantly. These statements by Srimati Radharani show the symptoms of pure love for Krishna tasted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In that ecstatic love, his mind was unsteady. Transformations of transcendental love spread throughout his entire body, and he could not sustain his body and mind. The pure devotional service in Vrindavan is like the golden particles in the river Jambu. In Vrindavan, there is not a trace of personal sense gratification. It is to advertise such pure love in this material world that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has written the previous verse and explains its meaning. Thus, overwhelmed by ecstatic love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke like a madman and recited suitable verses. The Lord formerly composed these 8 verses to teach people in the general. Now he personally tasted the meaning of the verses, which are called Shikshastaka. If anyone recites or hears these 8 verses of instruction by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his ecstatic love and devotion for Krishna increases day by day. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is as deep and grave as millions of oceans, when the moon of his various emotions arises, he becomes restless. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reads the verses of Jayadev's Gita Govinda, of Srimad Bhagavatam, of Ramananda Roy's drama Jagannath Vallabha Nataka, and of the Bilba Mangala Thakur's Krishna Karanamrita, he was overwhelmed by various ecstatic emotions of those verses. Thus he tasted their purports. For 12 years, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained in that state day and night. With his 2 friends, he tasted the meaning of those verses, which consist of nothing but the transcendental mellows and bliss, with the transcendental bliss and mellows of Krishna consciousness. Even Anantadev, who has thousands of faces, could not reach the end of describing the transcendental bliss of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. How then could an ordinary living being with very little intelligence describe such pastimes? Nevertheless, I am trying to touch but a particle of them, just to rectify myself. There is no limit to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities and his words of madness. Therefore, describing them all would greatly increase the size of this book. It is impossible to describe all the pastimes elaborately. I shall therefore end this description and offer them my respectful obeisances. What I have described is merely an indication, but by following this indication one may obtain a taste of all the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I cannot understand the very deep, meaningful pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. My intelligence cannot penetrate them, and therefore I cannot properly describe them. After offering my respectful obeisances to the lotus feet of all my Vaishnava readers, I shall therefore end this description of the characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The sky is unlimited, but many birds fly higher and higher according to their own abilities. The pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are like the unlimited sky. How then can an ordinary living being describe them all? I have tried to describe them as far as my intelligence allows, as if trying to touch a drop in the midst of a great ocean. Vrindavan Das Thakur is Lord Nityananda's favorite devotee, and therefore he is the original Vyasadeva in describing the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although Vrindavan Das Thakur has within his jurisdiction the full store of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, he has left aside most of them and described but a small portion. What I have described was left aside by Vrindavan Das Thakur, but although he could not describe these pastimes, he gave us a synopsis. In his book named Chaitanya Mangala, Chaitanya Bhagavat, he has described these pastimes in many places. I request my readers to hear that book, for that is the best evidence. I have described the pastimes very briefly, for it is impossible for me to describe them in full. In the future, however, Veda Vyasadeva will describe them elaborately. In the Chaitanya Mangala, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has stated in many places the factual truth that in the future Vyasadeva will describe the Lord's pastimes elaborately. The ocean of nectarian pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like the ocean of milk. According to his thirst, Vrindavan Das Thakur filled his pitcher and drank from that nectar. Whatever remnants of milk Vrindavan Das Thakur has given me are sufficient to fill my belly. Now my thirst is completely satisfied. I am a very insignificant living being, like a small red-beaked bird. Just as such birds drink the water of the sea to quench its thirst, so I have touched only a drop of the ocean of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. From this example you may all understand how expansive are the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I infer that I have written in a false understanding for my body is like a wooden doll. I am old and troubled by invalidity. I am almost blind and deaf. My hands tremble, and my mind and intelligence are unsteady. I am infected with so many diseases that I can neither properly walk nor properly sit. Indeed, I am always exhausted by 5 kinds of diseases. I may die at any time of day or night. I have previously given an account of my inabilities. Please hear the reason why I nevertheless still write. I am writing this book by the mercy of the lotus feet of Sri Govinda Dev, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, other devotees, and the readers of this book, as well as Swarup Damodar Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, who is my spiritual master, and Sri Jiva Goswami. I have also been specifically favored by another Supreme Personality. Sri Madana Mohan Didi of Vrindavan has given the order that is making me write. Although this should not be disclosed, I disclosed it because I am unable to remain silent. If I did not disclose this fact, I would be guilty of ingratitude to the Lord. Therefore, my dear readers, please do not consider me to be too proud and be angry at me. It is because I have offered my prayers onto the lotus feet of all of you that whatever I have written about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been possible. Now let me repeat all the pastimes of the Antya-lila, for if I do so, I shall taste the pastimes again. The first chapter describes how Rupa Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the second time and how the Lord heard his 2 dramas, Vidagha Madhava and Lalita Madhava. That chapter also describes the incident from Shivananda Sen's dog, who was induced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to chant the holy name of Krishna and was thus liberated. The second chapter tells how the Lord instructively punished Junior Haridas. Also in that chapter is a description of the wonderful vision of Shivananda Sen. In the third chapter, a description of the forceful glories of Haridas Thakur. That chapter also mentions how Damodar Pandit spoke words of criticism to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The third chapter also tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered everyone by bestowing upon the universe the holy name of the Lord. It describes how Haridas Thakur established the glories of the holy name by his practical example. The fourth chapter describes Sanatana Goswami's visit with the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and how the Lord saved him from committing suicide. The fourth chapter also tells how Sanatana Goswami was tested in the sunshine of Jaishta, May and June, and was then endowed and sent back to Vrindavan. In the fifth chapter tells how the Lord showed his favor to Pradyumna Mishra and made him hear topics of Krishna from Ramananda Roy. That chapter also describes how Swarup Damodar rejected the drama of a poet from Bengal and established the glories of the deity. The sixth chapter describes how Raghunath Das Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and performed the chipped rice festival in accordance with Nityananda Prabhu's order. That chapter also tells how the Lord entrusted Raghunath Das Goswami to the care of Swarup Damodar Goswami and gave Raghunath Das the gift of the stone from Govardhan Hill and a garland of small conch shells. The 7th chapter tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Vallabha Bhattacharya and dismantled his false pride in various ways. The 8th chapter describes the arrival of Ramachandra Puri and how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu minimized his eating due to fear of him. In the 9th chapter is the description of how Gopinath Patanayaka was delivered and how the people of the three worlds were able to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the 10th chapter, I have described how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tasted the food given by his devotees, and I have also described the assortment of prasadam in the bags of Raghava Pandit. Also in that chapter is a description of how the Lord examined Govinda and how he danced in the temple. The 11th chapter describes the disappearance of Haridas Thakur and how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, showed his affection for his devotees. In the 12th chapter are descriptions of how Jagadananda Pandit broke a pot of oil and how Lord Nityananda chastised Shivananda saying. The 13th chapter tells how Jagadananda Pandit went to Mathura and returned and how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chance heard a song sung by the Devadasi girls. Also, in the 13th chapter is an account of how Raghunath Bhatta met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who, by his causeless mercy, sent him to Vrindavan. The 14th chapter describes the beginning of the Lord's spiritual trance, in which his body was at Jagannath Puri, but his mind was in Vrindavan. Also in that chapter is a description of how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell down in front of the Simha Dwara gate of Jagannath temple, his bones separated at the joints, and how various transcendental symptoms awakened in him. Also in that chapter is a description of how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ran towards Chataka Parvata and spoke like a madman. In the 15th chapter, it is a description of how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered a garden on the seashore and mistook it for Vrindavan. Also in that chapter is a description of the attraction of Lord Chaitanya's 5 senses to Krishna and how he searched for Krishna in the Rasa dance. The 16th chapter tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed his mercy to Kalidas and thus demonstrated the result of eating the remnants of the food of Vaishnavas. It also describes how Shivananda's son composed a verse and how the doorkeeper of Simhadwara showed Krishna to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Also in that chapter, the glories of Mahaprasadam are explained, and a verse is tasted describing the effect of nectar from the lips of Krishna. The 17th chapter recounts how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell among the cows and assumed the form of a tortoise, as his ecstatic emotion awakened. That chapter also tells how the attributes of Krishna's sound attracted the minds of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who then described in ecstasy the meaning of Ka Stri Angate verse. The 17th chapter also tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, due to conjunction of various ecstatic emotions, again began speaking like a madman and described in detail the meaning of a verse from Krishna Karnamrita. In the 18th chapter is an account of how the Lord fell down into the ocean and in ecstasy saw in a dream the pastimes of a water fight between Krishna and the gopis. In that dream, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Krishna's picnic in the forest. As Lord Chaitanya floated in the sea, a fisherman caught him, and then the Lord returned to his own residence. All this is recounted in the 18th chapter. In the 19th chapter is a description of how Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rubbed his face against the wall and spoke like a madman because of separation from Krishna. That chapter also describes Krishna's wandering in the garden on the spring night, and it fully describes the meaning of the verse about the scent of Krishna's body. The 20th chapter tells how Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited his own 8 stanzas of instruction and tasted their meaning in ecstatic love. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu composed those 8 stanzas to instruct the devotees, but he also personally tasted their meaning. I have thus repeated the principal pastimes of their meaning, for by such repetition one can remember the descriptions in the book. In every chapter there are various topics, but I have repeated only those that are principal, for not all of them could be described again. The Vrindavan deities of Madana Mohan with Srimati Radharani, Govinda with Srimati Radharani, and Gopinath with Srimati Radharani are the life and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So that my dreams may be fulfilled, I place the lotus feet of these personalities on my head. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya and the devotees, as well as Swarup Damodar Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, who is my spiritual master, and Srila Jiva Goswami. The mercy of their lotus feet is my spiritual master, and my words are my disciples, whom I have made dance in various ways. Seeing the fatigue of the disciples, the spiritual master has stopped making them dance, and because that mercy no longer makes them dance, my words now sit silently. My inexperienced words do not know how to dance by themselves. The mercy of the Guru made them dance as much as possible, and now, after dancing, they have taken rest. I now worship the lotus feet of my readers, for by the mercy of their lotus feet there is all good fortune. If one hears the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, I wash his lotus feet and drink the water. I decorate my head with the dust of the lotus feet of my audience. Now you have all drunk this nectar, and therefore my labor is successful. Praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is filled with the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. It invokes all good fortune and destroys everything inauspicious. If one tastes the nectar of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita with faith and love, I become like a bumblebee tasting the honey of the transcendental love of his lotus feet. Since this book Chaitanya Charitamrita is now complete, having been written for the satisfaction of the most opulent deities Madana Mohan Ji and Govinda Ji, let it be offered at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Dev. Realized devotees are like bumblebees maddened by love by their own mellows at Krishna's lotus feet. The scent of those lotus feet perfumes the entire world, who is the realized soul that could give them up. In Vrindavan, in the year 1537, Sakabda era, in the month of Jaishta, May-June, on Sunday, the 5th day of the waning moon, this Chaitanya Charitamrita has been completed.
20 глава повествует о том, как Господь Шри Чайтанья Махапрабху зачитывал свои собственные 8 стихов, содержащие наставления, и наслаждался их смыслом, охваченный экстатической любовью. Шри Чайтанья Махапрабху Чаритамрита. Харе Кришна.
Hare Krishna.
Шри Читания Чаритамрита ки джай. Шри Кришна Дас Кавираж Госвами ки джай. Читания Махапрабху ки джай. Шила Прабхупада ки джай. Ананта Коти Вайшнава Вринда ки джай. Вся слава всем участникам нашего удивительного марафона по чтению Шри Читания Чаритамриты на благо всего мира.
Thank you for taking part in our marathon reading of Sri Chaitanya
Я
Charitamrita for
предлагаю
the benefit
спеть
of the
эти
whole world.
8 молитв как заключение.
We're going to read these 8 prayers as
Если можно мне
a
подать
conclusion.
гармошку, вот, поставить ее с этой стороны, гармошку. Угу. Спасибо. Чето дарпанам арджанам бхавамахадавагни нирвапанам шираккайрава чандрика витаранам видяватху дживанам ананда будхи вардханам пратипадам пурнам ритасваданам Sarvatmasnapanam param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Nama Kari Bahudha Nija Sarva Shakti Tatrarpita Niyamita Svaranakme Kalaha Etadrishi tava kripa Bhagavan mamapि Durdaivam idrisham Vihajani nanuragaha Trinatapi sunichina Tarorapi sahishnuna Amanina manadina Kirtaniya sadaharihi Nadanam na janam na sundarim Kavitam va jagati shakamaye Mama janmani janmanishvare Bhavatat bhaktirahai tuki tvai Ainanda tanuja kinkaram Patitam vambishame bhava budhau Kripaya tava pada pankaja Sthita duli sadrisham vichintaya Nayanam galata shudharaya Vadanam gadgadarudhaya gira Pulakair nichitam vapuhkada Tava namagrahane bhavishyati Yugaitam nimishena Chakshusha pravrishaitam Shunyaitam jagat sarvam Govinda virahiname Ashlishyava padaratam pinashtumam Adarshanat marmahatam karotuva Yadha tatha vavidatha tulam pato Mat prananatha stusaeva naparaha Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shikshashtakam ki jai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Yugat Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Gaur. Итак, мы можем войти сейчас в эфир. У кого есть какие-то реализации, вопросы. У нас есть время сейчас. И мы можем потихонечку продолжить наше общение.
Little by little, continue our conversations.
Еще раз огромное спасибо всем участникам, которые так ответственно подошли к этому марафону. Вас будет благодарить весь мир. Придет время, люди, которые поймут важность этого чтения Священных Писаний, не останутся равнодушными. Все поймут и почувствуют эту милость тех участников, которые прилагали усилия для того,
everyone will feel the mercy of the Lord and all those devotees who have made an effort to make this happen. That they'll understand that there's something higher than just sleeping, eating, working. This is thanks to the participants of this marathon and everyone who helped organize this marathon. But we don't expect any sort of glorification or any sort of extra respect. This, like it says in these 8 prayers, I don't desire anything. No glory, no glorification, no extra respect. Thank you so much, my dear friends. This marathon was so wonderful. So there's so many questions, and we need to answer them all. Just because try to go through all the questions. So we're going to use this time. Katya Savitskaya. I want to read Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam. But I understood that I will never do it. I read the Bhagavad Gita. I'll probably finish reading the Bhagavad Gita. I started reading the Bhagavad Gita 3 times, but only thanks to your marathon, I heard the whole Bhagavad Gita, and I also read it. I don't know. I don't understand how to explain what has changed inside of me or in my life, but it's a colossal change. It's been a big change in my life. My mother says that I've turned away from the world and that I've done this. Although I've always been that way. But I'm enjoying it. I want to mention that I always hear my questions and answers from all the honored guests in different meetings of Q&As. Thank you, Katarina. Thank you so much. I didn't understand that it didn't work to read on your own, but now together it's worked. Yes, this kind of change can happen in our consciousness. Thank you for not becoming a standard person for this world. Thank you very much. Good morning. Please accept my humble obeisances. I thank you from my heart, all the team and all the participants and all the teachers and disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for this unique marathon. It's the best thing that's been in my life. It seems that this is the meaning of life. My heart has found peace. 2 years ago, I was searching for information about Lord Chaitanya and asked, who is Lord Chaitanya? His associates. Everyone answered that it's Krishna himself. But that didn't didn't satisfy me. And I started reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, but I didn't understand anything. And I set it to the side and I returned to Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, Lord Chaitanya has poured his mercy on me, coming in the form of this marathon. Taking the Chaitanya Charitamrita in my hands, I understand that it's full of nectar and love. Thank you so much. I've gotten a taste for reading Srila Prabhupada's books. It is so tasty. It is sweet and nectar. Don't have words to describe it, but I'm sure that all participants will understand because they felt it the same. I'm waiting for the next marathon. Thank you for these deep realizations. Yes, without words, you can't compare the taste of a fake candy with a real candy, and you can understand why this taste has come. This is Sankirtan Yagya. It means together. We can't by ourselves. We can't achieve anything high because everything's taking us apart and beating us, and we have different languages, different different cultures, and this is the effect of Kali Yuga. Civilization is spread apart and split apart, but Lord Chaitanya comes and says, "Come together and try to be patient against what Maya tries to do to you." And look at this marathon. Look at the results of this marathon. it seems that everyone is already glorifying this united activity. Lord Chaitanya is the organizer of this Sankirtan, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya together. It is the Yuga Dharma. The Yuga Dharma means the way, the activity of the year. Thank you very much for this realization. Svetlana Mitrofanova. Very fairy tale like marathon. I'm so thankful for this time. If there wasn't a quarantine, I would have never gotten in touch with these writings. I think all participants can agree that I can't describe with words how thankful I am for everybody who took part of this marathon. Thanks for the mercy and the wonderful association with devotees. It's as if everything is started over. And I always wants to be a path from which we won't return from. I wanted for my whole life to run on marathons with you. Your marathon has already started. It's gonna be the whole life. It's not just these day-to-day marathons. There's so many practical things we can do to become inspired. Serving together, singing together, cooking together. When we went to India for a Harinam tour with the whole Panchatattva, these Panchatattva, they led us around on this Harinam tour. And they're organizing everything right now still. They're still saying, let it never stop, this Harinam tour. It should be to go to the end of our lives. Therefore, this is one of the important elements, is that it should connect us with all the other forms of spiritual practice, of devotional service. It should become more. It should become varied. It should become different services, different pilgrimages, Harinam tours. We're opening a farm. A center's opening. A temple's being built. This is all a marathon. We want to make it very interesting and wide, so that it becomes becomes a big variety, and that people can farm and do all sorts of things. They can plant plants and have holidays. There's so much interesting in Krishna consciousness. This is all a marathon. This kind of marathon should strengthen us. Should give strength to those who maybe from time to time lose their inspiration or their strength. Those who can get mixed up in their karma again, or we can become involved in some sort of unfortunate activities. We can sin. This marathon is like a ship. It's like just like a tugboat that's helping the big ship go to the spiritual world. That's helping us. It's for those who are having a lot of trouble getting out of here. If somebody's drowning and raising up their arms, we'll exactly lift them out and put them on this small boat and take them to the big boat, and that's taken to the spiritual world. That is why we have this kind of this marathon. those who have fallen overboard, for those who have fallen overboard. The speed of this boat is so fast, unbelievably fast. People, there's so many different changes, and people who maybe they forgot to put on their seatbelts and they fall out. They maybe didn't follow the spiritual principles of spiritual purity, or there's something they have problems with stability. They have maybe hit a big wave or something. They're going to be thrown overboard. And the goals of these small boats is to throw them back on board. I already told about how we can compare this speed. The day of Brahman means is 6 billion years. This life of Brahma is a very small thing. And we have this very small slice. We have a very small speck of 10,000 years. On all this light of this day of Brahma, you can't even see this 10,000 years. On 80 miles of 800 kilometers, try to find 10 millimeters. Compare it to it. And try to find it. This 10 millimeters you marked off. You won't find it. And over the course of this 10,000 years that Lord Chaitanya has made into the golden age of like Satya Yuga, to fall into this, and then it'll go by so fast. Of 40 billion years, you won't even see it. It'll just go by like that. This is the speed of the boat. It'll come here and then it'll leave away very quickly. And we've made it on time to jump onto this boat. So strap yourselves in with the belts of that. And that's how we can get out of this marital suffering. Get out of birth, death, old age, and disease. Epidemics and everything of that sort. Intelligent people use this. They will absolutely use it. And therefore this small marathon, together, we did it together. It'll bring a lot of benefit to very many people. Maybe sometimes people will open a page, one of our recordings, and they'll say, "Oh, I want this." They'll hear it all. They want to hear it all. I want to hear it all. And get out of suffering. Thank you, Svetlana, that you opened it up very more detailed to think about this marathon. Anatoly Ligachov. This is time an amazing opening for me. And I'm having ecstatic experiences and go deeper, more condensed time of my life. This is everything that's happening to me. Right here and now. When you come into contact with gold 15, 16 hours a day, when it just becomes completely absorbed with the love of God. Thank you so much for this. This is the second one. My heart is overfilled with happiness, with talking with God and his associates. And on these 2 marathons, I felt a lot of subtle help and support. It's been really real. Krishna's connecting us with his mercy. Not dependent on nationality, gender, or place of your location. every day I'm just getting the prasad of love of God, love of Lord Chaitanya. Thank all the spiritual teachers and participants of this marathon and the whole team. It's the sweet feeling of being in Vrindavan. Very poetic and ecstatic. And see that this is very realized. This isn't just they're not just simple words. Thank you very much for these realizations. But these kinds of impressions can stick with us to the end of our lives. Everyone can be inspired with these realizations until the end of their lives. Tatiana Belakon. Marathon is such a brilliant idea of the devotees. It's ecstatic. It's too bad it's ending. Please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. So thank you, Valmiki Prabhu, for reading all this. Everything feels so personal. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tatiana. He hasn't ended. Well, it ended, but it's not ended. I think we're going to continue to organize something and continue. We're going to think of something else. Krishna gives intelligence to all of us. What we need to do to support everyone. Unknown, an anonymous person. Thank you for the marathon and for your activities. Thank you for what you're doing. I just been listening to answers and questions and answers. I'm on the beginning of my path. Thank you very much. You're taking part of it. Just listening to the questions and answers. You're taking part in the marathon. The marathon is not... there's no winners in this marathon. There's no losers. Everyone who participates in it will absolutely become an experienced and mature spiritual person. Love doesn't have any sort of tradition, no sort of confession. Love is just love. This is the highest manifestation of love. This is the highest love of anybody on the planet. If you try to ask somebody to explain this love, if you take a look at earthly love, then it's just like the croaking of a frog. Krishnadas, just like Krishnadas Goswami Maharaj writes this, he says about how Lord Chaitanya explains love, how Srimati Radharani explains love, how Krishna explains this love, and this is evidence that it's a science. It's not a sentiment. It's not just some sort of sectarian religious activity. No, just every explanation of this love is like a diamond, the brightest diamond. It's about how love between God and His children. And even if when someone comes just a little interested, they can't compare it. Everything is so wonderful. This is a wonderful song of love. And when he's leaving this world, he'll say that it seems like there actually is no love here. It says like about the smell of Krishna is like a wonderful perfume that you can't take your nose away from. Krishna doesn't sprint his body with different deodorants to make his body smell good. No, it actually attracts you. All that regular deodorants are just, and perfumes are just, they're actually just stinky. But this shows actual love. You can't compare any of it. And our love should run away from this egotistical love. Thank you, anonymous participant, for such a small realization, but helped get into it deeply. The understanding of love. You can't compare it to what's in the material world. Olga Timur-Bulatova. Hare Krishna. All my friends, thank you for your society, for your community, for this community recitation. This marathon will remain in my heart, and I'm waiting for the next marathon. Thanks, Olga, as well. Natalia Tikova. Dear devotees, please accept my respectful obeisances. I have limitless thanks for all this wonderful spiritual experience. Thank you, Natalia. Tatiana Valatovskaya. Hare Krishna. I'm feeling bad that the marathon is ending, and I'm sincerely thankful to all the organizers. When something ends, something new should start. So everything will be just fine. Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you for the group run. Alisa Nikiforova. Please accept my humble obeisances, Valmiki Prabhu, and all the organizers. I have no doubt that the organizers have spread their purity with us, their piousness with us. We did it all together, especially you. With everyone, we have to finish this all together. That if we'll run like this, then we'll be successful. We'll have to all run to the end together. Людмила Пенькова. Not forgetting my this experience, I'm crying tears of joy. Your heart is overfilled with joy. Alina Mironovna. Huge thankness for all the participants and lectors. I'm sad that it's ending. I don't know what I'll do without the marathon. Organize a small marathon for you. You know, there's a lot of people running. And when it ends, they still run in the morning, maybe the next day. They get the taste of the run together, and they continue to run. This little marathon is, make a little marathon for yourself and continue running. Grab the books of Srila Prabhupada and read them. Read all the books of Srila Prabhupada, and this will be the most powerful marathon of your life. Read all Srila Prabhupada's books. I know one, he's already been reading, he reads all Srila Prabhupada's books over the course of he reads all 87 books of Srila Prabhupada over the course of a year. Oля Shepakova. tears of happiness are falling from my eyes.
Такая вся.
This is the realization of everyone, Olga.
Ну, терпите.
Well,
Терпите этого счастья. Терпите, передавайте другим.
be patient, tolerate it, pass it on.
Кришна
The happiness to others.
однажды эти слезы у вас.
Krishna will accept all your
Постоянно
tears.
плакать по любви к Кришне, по
If you're always
радости
crying for tears of separation from Krishna,
вам.
He'll save you.
Кришна придет и утрет.
Krishna will come himself and wipe away your eyes,
И
your
судя по
tears,
авторизации, они искренние.
if you're being sincere.
Лариса Никифорова.
Larisa Nikiforovna.
Пробовала сама читать,
I tried to read myself
чтобы не вставать в час 30.
so I don't wake up at
график,
at
чтобы было
1:30.
Но
I changed my graphics, my schedule so it became easier.
не хватает
but
терпения.
I didn't have the patience, and I was getting distracted very easy.
По милости преданных
Only by the mercy of the devotees in Krishna we can
сделать ценное.
do something valuable.
Вас огромное спасибо
Thank
за
you
этот
so
марафон.
much for this marathon.
Ну вот, в час 30 встает. Вставала.
She got up at 1:30.
Вдохновляла всех, похоже.
She became very inspired, it seems like.
Хорошая.
Nice realization.
Надо просто успеть. Это ценное, это что-то ценное.
You need to value it. You need to
Ценное
value it.
является мотивирующим фактором.
The being able to value it becomes the motivating factor.
Камилла.
Camila.
Примите, пожалуйста, мои поклоны.
Please accept
Счастливо пройти марафон с вами.
My obeisances. I have happily gone through this marathon.
Было непросто.
I feel,
То, что слушала,
I have the feeling that I wasn't just
буду возвращаться, дочитывать. 20 главу хочется читать много раз.
Reading it, and I need to read more and more concentrated, and read. I like chapter 20, and I'll try to read it over and over again.
Раз так уж вкус, главное вкус там почувствуйте.
If you feel it, the taste,
И тогда
you
вам
can feel the
будет.
different flavors of it, and you'll get strength.
Алена.
Alona,
У меня первый опыт такого погружения.
I have this kind of absorption. Thank you so much.
Вдохновение невероятное.
I feel very inspired.
Погружаться дальше,
I want to become absorbed further
продвигаться дальше и служить миссии.
and to continue on and to serve the mission.
Упоминайте слово миссия.
If you remember the word, the word meditation,
Первым, кто замечает Господь читание, сразу замечает вас, потому что
Lord Chaitanya will see you.
слово миссия это код.
This word,
Это код, который сразу высвечивается,
mission,
сразу же высвечивается
it should light you up.
Господа читании.
It really lights up
С миссией
Lord Chaitanya because he came with this mission to serve, to save the most fallen, those who are stuck in this ocean of lies and birth, death, old age, illusion, anger.
Наш родитель главный, он пытается кого-то
He's our main,
он сам спасает, но когда он видит, что кто-то хочет помогать,
he's help saving everybody, but he sees that somebody's trying to help him.
очень дорог Господу
This
читание.
person becomes very, very dear to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda.
Человека обращает внимание, наделяет его разными полномочиями,
And he gives them different authorities
знания,
and
защиту,
ability
власть,
and strengths to
терпение,
do
радость.
this, different protections and all these
Поэтому,
things.
если у вас реально это желание есть служить,
Therefore,
то тогда
this,
будьте готовы.
if you actually have this
Какое-то время вы забудете
mission to serve,
потому что невозможно
then
быть полностью погруженным в миссию, сохраняя материальные желания.
to give up material things, because you can't become completely absorbed in this mission and be still attached to material things.
Достигнув каких-то
It'll
целей,
pull you away from it. No,
этого ничего не получится.
you won't be able to achieve anything
Хотите прям,
in this world. But if you really want,
что Господь
to-
устроит так, что вы забудете про все.
Lord Chaitanya will make it so you forget about everything. You'll be so happy in this mission. Why didn't I make time for this in the past? Why didn't I think about this? That to help other people and save others is really what we should do. Be careful. Be careful in the good sense of this word. My Lord will help you answer different questions of organizing your life and to take part in this mission.
Татьяна
Tatiana Nosova.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Нет
accept
слов,
my
чтобы
my obeisances. I don't have words to describe my gratitude on
день, когда
how
мы
this
читали Бхагавад-гиту,
wonderful
было
marathon went.
ощущение, как будто меня очень тщательно помыли как внутри, так и снаружи.
It seemed I had this feeling of reading this that I was being carefully cleaned from the inside and outside.
Но продолжала слушать.
I had a lot of trouble, but I continued to listen.
Такое
And then,
сожаление возникло.
but when I realized that we're ending it, I started to
Как изменилось
I started to sort of feel bad that everything's ending. I can't even understand what's happened to me in this over the course of this 10 days.
Чаритамриту с комментариями
I can't wait to read Chaitanya Charitamrita with the commentary by Srila Prabhupada. Good realization, Tatiana.
Да, Бхагавад-гита, она является этим самым
Bhagavad Gita
антисептиком.
is the antiseptic.
Очищает сознание наше Бхагавад-гита, готовит к чему-то такому важному, интересному, серьезному, глубокому.
Bhagavad Gita gives us access to that, what's interesting, what's falling. Remember that you always need to read Bhagavad Gita.
Некую трезвость.
It gives us sobriety,
Нам всегда будет давать, чтобы мы не сошли с пути.
so that we don't fall off the path. Bhagavad Gita will always carry us and support us in that way.
Оксана Григорьева.
Oksana Grigorieva.
Спасибо огромное
Thank you so much
дорогим слугам Господа читаний.
to the wonderful servants of Lord Chaitanya.
Благо этого марафона.
I can't completely value or
Навечно этот
this
рассказ.
this marathon or understand the value of this marathon.
Читаний. Похоже, он этот марафон 500 лет назад начал.
It seems like Lord Chaitanya started this marathon 500 years ago.
Он бежит не он 10 тысяч лет будет бежать.
Lord Chaitanya is going to be running for 10,000 years.
Дистанция не
His
42
distance
километра.
isn't 42 kilometers.
10 тысяч лет.
His distance is 10,000 years.
Набирает тоже
And he's
бегунов, и вот мы бежим вместе, и когда чем больше нас, тем
picking
легче
up
бежать, чем легче
us to
бежать,
run with
тем
him,
легче
and then
бежать.
the more that we have running with us, the better it is.
Хорошо, что вы присоединились к этому длинному забегу.
Great that you came, you joined us in this marathon.
Бежали маленькую. Но Господь Чайтанья видит
We've just read a little bit, maybe just an hour,
пролет
but Lord Chaitanya sees everything and he pours mercy on everyone.
Елена Миронова.
Елена
На
Mironova.
волне марафона вдохновляла на изучение священных текстов своих учеников. Я преподаю йогу.
I've been inspired by this marathon, and I'm a yoga teacher, and I've been sharing these different texts with my students. Thank you, Irina. Well, this is a missionary. Who can I involve in this? Who can I help take part in it? I can only do. Nityananda said, "I can only do so much. Help me give this out this fruit." This is what Nityananda says, like a gardener. Lord Chaitanya also thinks this way.
Ну что, успехов вашему йога-клубу.
Well,
Что Бхагавад-гита является как раз для йога.
all glories to your yoga club.
На самом деле, да. Ее называют йога-шастра.
This is called the Yoga Shastra, actually.
Писание, которое
The Holy Scriptures,
описывает главную систему или
the main
йоги.
meaning behind yoga.
И поэтому шестую главу особенно изучайте.
Therefore,
Если вы все
study the 6th chapter in Bhagavad Gita.
вместе, да, вашим клубом,
If you read it together as your club,
особенно акцент поставьте.
but
Потому что он как раз
an accent on the 6th
описывает
chapter.
в этой главе
On this
непосредственно
chapter,
йогу.
He gives the actual meaning of Ashtanga Yoga.
Там он объяснит, кто такие
He
йоги.
explains what is yoga actually.
Йоги Нама, Писар, Вишам, вот этот стих,
Yoga Nama Pishar Visham.
46
This 46th verse,
стих этой главы 6. Он описывает, кто такие
it tells
совершенные
what
йоги,
is
те, кто
perfect yoga.
постоянно погружены в мыслях
Those who are
Господа, думают постоянно о том,
constantly absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord. This is actual yoga.
красиво вы описали волны марафона.
You wrote very nice the wave of the marathon.
То есть волна пошла туда, еще кого-то захлестнула.
The wave has gone out and will wash away somebody else as well.
Стих, не 46-й, 47 стих.
47th
Шестой главы.
verse. Not the 46th verse, the 47th verse of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Read it.
А из всех йогов тот, кто всегда погружен в мысли обо мне.
And of all yogas, those who are absorbed in
и исполнен
who are in thoughts of me, those
поклоняется
who have
Богу,
gained unshakable faith in me and love in me,
высшей ступени
they achieve the highest
таково мое мнение.
platform of love. This is my opinion.
Основное слово, это вот, глагол, да, то, что действие дает, то, что саму суть отражает в этом стихе.
The meaning is that those who are connected with me, this is the verb here.
Связь, это процесс
Yoga is
соединения.
a process of connecting.
Поэтому связывайте всех с Кришной.
Therefore, connect everyone with Krishna.
Людей настоящими йогами сделайте. Они
And people who actually do real yoga.
что вы не дадите им искусственную какую-то йогу.
You're not giving them some sort of
Вот эту суть.
artificial body yoga.
Кристина Колесникова.
Christina Kolesnikova.
Ну вот, все начинают так здороваться теперь. Хари Кришна.
Everyone's starting to connect to everybody saying Hare Krishna. Thank all the ladies for this, the organizers of this marathon. My heart is going even softer by the reading of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
И мы все благодарим вас
And we're all thankful for you. Thankful for you, Christina,
очистилось.
that your heart has been purified.
Сердца других.
And now you can help purify the hearts of others by sharing your realizations.
Ирина.
Irina
Харш.
Harshana.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much.
Сердце наполнилось любовью.
My heart is filled with love and gratitude.
Марина. Оставайтесь такой наполненной всегда теперь.
Thank you, Irina. Remain always feeling complete with this love.
Маншук.
Manshuk.
Благодарю всех гостей, Вальмики Прабhu организаторов.
Thanks to all the guests and Valmiki Prabhu and all the organizers.
Мое сердце любовью. Сегодня по милости преданных.
Lord Chaitanya has
Шримад Бхагаватам подарил.
filled my heart with love.
Ура!
Hooray.
Ура! Это значит, вы 100% кого-то спасли.
Hooray means that you're going to 100% save somebody from this ocean of material existence. Srila Prabhupada is very happy even if you distribute one book. Srila Prabhupada is very happy to some who does that. Thank you for distributing Srila Prabhupada's books.
Спросите, кому нужен комплект Шримад Бхагаватам, друзьям, преданным.
Ask anyone who needs this whole set of Srimad Bhagavatams. If anybody needs a whole set of Bhagavatams, we'll help you distribute it. We'll help you get one, whatever you need. And you're gonna get so much blessings from that. Even if they just get one tome of Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita. We can send things by mail.
Так получится, не знаю, раньше так делали, преданные приносили, просили меня какие-то писать пожелания.
Devotees asked me to write some sort of wishes for this set if they wrote it.
Пожалуйста, можете это делать.
If somebody needs a set, please connect with us and we'll help us get this. We'll make sure you get this the set of Bhagavatams. Natalia Titkova. Hare Krishna. I'm unlimitlessly thankful for everyone who has taken part in this transcendental yagya. I have an inspiration that cannot be put out. Thank you for the support, the attention from all the elevated Vaishnavas, from their respected guests, for sharing their experience in their nectar. Of course, and all the all the participants and their stability in running this marathon. Thank you for the inspiration. It's difficult to actually explain my emotions and how I feel so happy, and how I've gotten filled with new realizations, and how we running together and helping each other, and that we can overcome everything together. I've started to run forward with a full speed ahead. Please continue doing this yagya to bring light and love to this whole world. This is from your insignificant servant Nitya Dharani Devidasi. You just gave the whole gist of everything. We need to bring this to everyone. People need love. Everyone needs love. Everything else they don't need. It won't help them be happy. It won't help them be satisfied with anything. They need love. Thank you very much. Svetlana. After the first marathon, my whole body was hurting, like as if I actually ran a marathon. I had increased that and all this stuff. Thank you so much. Reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, everything comes. More subtle experiences, more compassion, and I forget about my pain. And my relationship with my deities at home seems more alive now. I could feel my spiritual master and deities coming alive. That nothing's mine; it's all theirs. In 2018, Vidlavas and the Parikrama with their Panchatattva in Jagannath-pur. They were out seeing them outside of Patita Pavana. I was very glad to see this. Thank you, Svetlana. We used to have a video of how our Panchatattva went into the Jagannath temple. Maybe if you're register something, we'll put different things with the Panchatattva. They took a shower, took a bath in the Ganges in the ocean, in Radhakund, in the Ganges. Thank you that you remember them, our Panchatattva, legendary deities.
Светлана, похоже, побудила показать Панчататтву вам сейчас прям в реальном времени, где они, как они себя чувствуют.
Svetlana is showing us how they are, wants to show everybody how they are right now.
Хотят всех увидеть. Ну, они и так всех видят, но вы тоже.
But they'll see everybody. Does this work? Only the camera works. How can we do this?
Иван помогает здесь. Он сказал, что у него есть какая-то авантюра техническая. Он знает всякие.
He said he can show different things. He's got to turn it on.
Делает так, что мы все получим даршан.
We're going to take darshan of Panchatattva now.
Смотри, она с ним снимает также тебя, грудь твою снимает, нет? Ага. Сейчас он так направит прям на них и даст вам даршана, даст свет.
He's gonna turn it to them and he's gonna show us Panchatattva.
Они прям напротив нас, божества.
They're right across from us.
Да, они постоянно участвуют в этом.
They're continually
Ближе к
taking
здесь,
part in this.
можно было. Еще можно ближе делать. Ближе, чтобы прям чтоб все вошли.
So everyone, they can see. Bring closer so you can see that. He's gonna show you now. Here they are.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu.
Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Они всех вас благословляют, дорогие участники.
They all bless all of you. They're devotees of this.
Вернее, мы с ними все и бежали.
We're running with them all.
Нам удалось за эту маленькую короткую жизнь присоединиться к их марафону.
We've gotten able to take part in their marathon. It's taken part over 10,000 years, and we've been able to jump onto the tram so that we can get on there with them. Thank you, everyone.
Итак, у нас нет перерыва.
So we're not going to have a break, seems like.
Мы еще почитаем здесь реализации преданных и участников. Ну вот, здесь просто в реализации Светлана говорила про божества, и поэтому они не выдержали и решили дать всем свой даршан, чтобы увидели.
The deities gave us an opportunity. They decided to give us their darshan.
Виктория Макиевская. Кто-то говорит, что время останавливается, а у меня такое чувство, что оно молниеносно летит, и ты не успеваешь. Да, это как раз качество или определение времени. То есть оно и стоит, смотрите, вот вообще время оно не двигается. Само время статичное, оно стало просто в материальном мире и не двигается никуда. Но зато оно само все двигает. Само не двигается, но всех двигает. И вот это понять не так просто. Таково могущество времени. Все, что движется в этом мире, все, от микробов до всяких дуновений ветерков, листочков, деятельности.
That all these different winds and all these different things that are coming, I was like, everything is coming with time. Nothing is continuing with this. Time doesn't stop.
Так молниеносно летит время. И на самом деле наша задача
Our
выйти из-под влияния
goal is
времени,
to get
материального,
out of the influence of
выйти из
time.
него. Да. А с другой стороны, чтобы
From the
выйти
other
из этого
side, to get out of this time,
надо увидеть его ход.
we need to see
То есть его динамику.
how
И тогда
time
у нас
works.
появляется мотив или стимул выйти из него, потому что оно
We need stimulus to get out of it.
перемалывает в своих жерновах все живые существа. То есть все прям
All
уничтожает
time destroys everything.
любого элемента в этом мире материальном. И потом опять дает этому опять ход, потом опять уничтожает. И все вот это трансформируемое такое, активное существование в этом мире, оно
This
все двигается
active
временем. Если вы
things,
хотите
everything is going with time.
практики, поднимитесь немножко над нашей жизнью и попробуйте понаблюдать.
We should realize that everybody. Look at the life of a microbe.
Жизнь каких-то жучков, паучков, мотыльков,
Some sort of
как протекает жизнь там птичек, рыбок,
comes an insect and then a fish and then a bird. Look how all these our lifetime changes so fastly. Looking comparing to the life of a microbe, our life is very dim.
Он только родился, сразу умер.
He's born and then he dies immediately, just like the
Или деревья, к примеру, камни, к примеру, да?
like a demigods do this.
В Гималаях, когда подходил к одной горе, где Ганга падает на землю, где Господь Шива сидит.
Where the Ganga falls, this is in the Himalayas.
Эта гора, туда спадает
Nilakanta, where it is, this is where it is.
Господу Шиве на голову.
It hits Lord Shiva on the head.
Поднялся один раз прям к ледникам. Первое, что я почувствовал,
The first thing I felt
эта гора, она как живая просто.
is it's alive. This mountain's alive.
Много раз видела, как к ней приходят люди одни и те же, с других жизней,
Alright,
из других жизней.
The same ladies are coming for all the same time, and they're coming. Hello,
Он говорит,
they say.
ты опять пришел, да?
You're here again?
Такое состояние, то есть такая долгая жизнь у гор, например, у камней.
This is the long life of a
Вот
mountain.
они смотрят на нас, как мы
Hey, look
быстро
at us.
родились, выросли и
We're
всё. Так
Born
и
and then we
Господь
quickly
нас
die.
смотрит. А говорится, Господь Брахма, он даже не
And
видит.
Brahma doesn't even see
Для
us.
него даже не видно, как мы рождаемся, умираем, как мы не видим микробов.
He doesn't. We just like we don't see microbes. We don't know how they live. How I live.
Секунд есть микробы.
10 seconds or how long do they live?
Минуты, 2, 15 минут.
Maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Вот так. Но, однако,
However,
Господь Вишну, он
Lord
даже
Vishnu
не замечает жизни Брамы.
doesn't even notice the life of Brahma. He breathe in and breathe out, and that's the life of Brahma.
Просто выдохнул и вдохнул.
He's
Выдохнул,
breathe in and breathe out,
Вселенной, появился
and that's it.
сотворил Вселенную, прожил, умер, и все. А Господь
He
Вишну
lived
выдохнул.
his life,
Вот так мы дышим.
and he dies. Just like we're
Не так,
breathing
что
in and out.
мы вдох делаем там.
What we do with a long, no, he's just breathing like we're breathing.
Вот отследите, как вы дышите. С какой
How are you breathing? How fast are
как
you?
вы дышите.
You're breathing
Вот
fast.
так Господь Вишну дышит.
Same as Lord Vishnu is breathing.
Своих
10,000
тысячи лет своих он дышит просто.
10,000 of his years
За
he's
это
breathing.
время Брамы меняются, миллиарды Брам меняются.
Billions of
Меняются,
Brahmins
меняются,
change.
меняются, и он даже не замечает.
He doesn't even notice it.
И вот так вы можете время оценить, как оно
And we can-
скоротечно. И только тогда
We can
можно
value our time, that how much time we actually have.
жизнь.
We can actually see how short time and how to use it properly.
Неужели мы можем еще оставлять время на какие-то бессмысленные дела, которые они вообще не нужны нам? Нам нужно время, чтобы успеть вырваться из этого влияния времени. Надо вот это сделать. Поэтому спасибо вам, Виктория, за эту реализацию. Что время летит молниеносно. Мы только начали марафон. Смотрите, мы уже закончили. Только начали. Вот вчера еще Бхагавад-гиту только начали. Только открытие было. Только
Our marathon started and then it's ended. And that's it.
Всё. Мы закончили.
We're done. You see how fast it's over?
Да, нужно быть очень внимательным относительно времени нашей жизни. Владимир Сацков. 2 года назад, по милости Вальмики Прабху, удалось побывать в Майпуре и Вриндаване. Тогда я даже Бхагавад-гиту ни разу не прочитал. Было просто большое желание побывать в святых местах. И многие из тех мест
A lot of people have left this and
побывали
I've been to so many these spiritual places that are written in this Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Спасибо вам, Владимир. Почувствовали, да, какое важное вот это вот
You
состояние,
see
когда вы
how
в
this.
том месте и читаете
I've
об
been in
этом.
this, and it's so nice to be these places and read about it. That this isn't something that's just made up.
Типа там поэтом особенно каком. Вы реально там были в этом месте, вы даже чувствовали это
You can
место.
hear this.
Чувствовали
You
это
can
место.
feel this place.
И сейчас, когда вы читаете, вы тоже чувствуете это место, потому что сознание переносится туда, и ваше сознание, оно в это время получает, ну, благодаря вашему сознанию, вы получаете такое же благо, которое принесло вам посещение этого места, то есть ничем не отличное. Прям
Nothing is different from this. This is like in the spiritual world too.
И сейчас я обливаюсь горькими слезами
Now
из-за
I'm-
своего невежества.
I'm in crying bitter tears out of my ignorance.
В то время. И сейчас я обливаюсь горькими слезами из-за своего невежества. Утром я пребывал в то время. Простите меня,
Excuse me,
Вальмики Прабhu.
Valmiki Prabhu.
Не подозревал всю глубину духовного мира.
I haven't even understood the whole
Мое настроение
depth
было
of the
в
spiritual world.
невежестве. Я только
I had
сейчас
an
начинаю
ignorant mood.
понимать,
I'm just now
что
starting
есть
to
преданность Господу, что
understand
значит служить.
what it means to
Спасибо
serve.
всем участникам и организаторам.
Thank you, all the people who organize this and are ready for this.
Не корите себя сильно.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
Всему свое время.
Everyone will come in their time.
Судьба, она очень капризная вещь.
Fate is a very capricious thing.
Почему раньше вот ко мне это не пришло? А нет. Нет,
mean,
нужно
no.
реализовывать свои желания материальные,
People
которые
need to
раньше были у
Get
нас.
over that thing.
И поэтому будьте очень внимательны с материальными желаниями. Кришна называет это скверной в сердце. Он Арджуне говорит: очисти сердце от материальной скверны. Очищение сердца — это то, что Гуру Махарадж говорил на общении. Он сказал, что это то, к
It's
чему
like our
нужно
Guru
стремиться,
Maharaj.
желать этого, очистить сердце. Потому что потом это препятствием будет.
There will be plenty of
Почему?
obstacles.
Сердце тормознит нас будет.
There's so much. There's dirt in our heart will help try to stop, will break us and try to stop us.
Пришло время реализовывать все эти моменты.
Seems
Теперь
like you're trying to see
очень внимательно.
these moments. Be
Будьте очень
very
внимательны
careful.
теперь. Ставьте
Vladimir.
теперь задачи и бойтесь материальных
Make
желаний, потому
goals
что иначе они
and be
могут в какой-то
careful.
момент опять оттянуть вас.
The material worlds will pull us away again.
Но марафон сделал свое дело.
The
Всё, и
marathon
вас
did their things.
принял. Все нормально, не переживайте.
Don't worry.
Надеюсь, мы еще посетим эти святые места. Надеяться будем, что закончится это
We'll
весь
help
коллапс,
that
который
this
сейчас идет. И
collapse will
надеюсь,
end and
что
we'll
еще раз попробуем туда
We're gonna try
попасть.
to.
Тем более после вот этого чтения
do this
я
again
уверен,
with-
что теперь эти места
I'm
по-другому будут открываться нам.
Ready. I think that these places will open. These holy places will open up again.
В этих местах священных.
We're going to see the spiritual nature of all these words. Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri, Navadvip, Mayapur, all these places, Shantipur, all these places will open up for us. All these different places will open for us. Places, sites of pilgrimage sites.
Так что держите руку на пульсе.
So hold on
Только что-то прояснится, мы обязательно выложим
that,
информацию.
and we'll put out more information if we're going to on pilgrimage to the holy places, starting with Himalayas, and then
Нашей привычной схеме на Курукшетре.
to our regular places, Kurukshetra, where Srimad Bhagavatam was.
Тоже туда попадем. Дай Бог, дай Бог.
If God lets us do it.
Роза Гафурова.